So the next thing I wanted to talk to you about is our recognition of students for positive behavior each month. This is going to start in September with our green students. So what green students signifies is students who in their leadership notebooks were either coloring each day green, meaning that they were on target, or even better than green. I know some teachers have purple, blue, other colors that are above and beyond. So I'd like for you to keep track of these students for the month of September and each month following. Give me a list of those students by filling out an award for them, and I'll give you an example of what one of the awards looks like, if I can find it. Here it is. Sorry that it's sideways, but this was one that we used for our pirate theme. You basically put their name on the award, say that it was for being green all month, and then have your name, and the date would just be the month. So for September. I do not have an award for us to use this year. This is something that if you've got something that goes along with our jungle theme, just let me know. Usually teachers come up with something and then we just share that out, and we'll have a copy at the copy machine. So each month you're able to get those printed out and ready to go. So we will announce those students at lunchtime at the end of September. So you'll want to make sure you're keeping track of that. The next thing is I talked briefly about Evaluate. Our testing window is the first 10 days. Again, on Google Classroom, I put the login information for that. So let's click back over to Google Classroom. Looks like it's the third thing down here. So this is login pages for teachers. That's the heading or topic. So if you need a login, right here over to the left, you'll see that's the topic, and that's where I put the Evaluate login information. This is an intro to Evaluate training. So if you're a new teacher and you missed out and you have no idea really what Evaluate does, you might want to read through this. These are notes, I believe, from training that we had. And then there's two different logins for Evaluate. This first one with the kids on the front, this is for second through fifth grade. The one down at the bottom is for kindergarten and first grade. The reason they are separate is because they're two different platforms. So that's why we have two different logins. So if you're a K1 teacher, you use the bottom. If you are a second through fifth grade teacher, you use the top. Most of you have already been working on this, and your mentors, if you're new, have already shared this with you. But this is one location that you can easily click to your login if you need it. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about is Chromebook inventory. So we have a lot of different Chromebooks in our building. I know that some of them are not really working very well, and so we need to keep track of the Chromes that aren't working, because I would really like to not have those on our inventory anymore if it's something we're going to send to David. So David has shared with me all of the inventories that he sent out to teachers for Chromebooks. So if you have not got a copy of the inventory, please let me know and I will share that out to you. I'm going to show you what that inventory looks like. I put it in my Google Drive as Chromebooks under inventory. When you click on this, you're going to see each one of the grade levels. I'm not sure why, but he did separate kindergarten. So this says Kindergarten Schmitz on it. So Mrs. Birdsong, this is going to be yours. And you can go on this particular inventory and you can change the name on it so that it matches your name. So if you are a new teacher and it does not have the correct name on it, go on and change it. I already told David that we would do this so that it makes it less confusing. So it finally pulled up here. So here, instead of Schmitz, I can click at the top and we can change this to Birdsong. And so Mrs. Birdsong, these should be the Chromes in your room. If for some reason one of these Chromes is not working, and you have something very specific that you can tell me about it, then we will get it back to David. But we need to make a note in this inventory that it is with David, because if we do not get it back, I would like a place to tell David, hey, we gave that to you. We don't have it in the building anymore. This hopefully will be a way that we can make sure that our chromes are being replaced with chromes that work. So if you scroll over, you can maybe go to this last column here, and you can just say that you've given it to David, given to David to be repaired. Now, if you get it back and it is actually repaired, then you can erase that. But I do want us to keep track of this, because apparently there are a lot of chromes in the district, but I want to make sure that we have chromes that are working here. So this is one way that we can be proactive with this and make sure we're monitoring what we have. So if you do not have this inventory, it hasn't been shared with you, let me know and I will share it with you. I asked David the other day to give me everyone's, and so he did get those to me yesterday. If you have any questions about the Chromebooks, please let me know. Also, if you loan out a Chromebook, I know that third grade very graciously loaned out some Chromebooks because they had a couple extra. Please keep those Chromebooks on your inventory and make a note of who you gave it to. So if third grade Morgan gave first grade Smith a Chromebook, Mrs. Morgan, if you would put on your inventory in Smith's room, and then make sure that at the end of the school year you get that back. That way everyone's inventory stays complete and we know exactly which Chromebooks are here. This is going to make things a lot easier when we're trying to relay the message to Mr. Hayes that, hey, we don't have enough Chromebooks, or we need new Chromebooks because these aren't working. So if you can be proactive with that, I think that'll help us out a lot. The next thing we're going to talk about is emergency drills. On Google Classroom, I shared with you some information on emergency drills. We are going to begin our drills next week, and then we're going to talk more about the active shooter drills on our PD day. In fact, on September 17th at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and 11 o'clock, we're going to do what we talked about doing at the beginning of the year. Each one of the buildings will have the administrative team at that building, and we will do a run through of what it might look like if we had an intruder in the building. We are going to ask that our support staff comes to those designated times, and you'll be compensated for your time. So at 10 o'clock, if the Shelbina support staff can come to Shelbina, probably will take maybe just an hour. We will do a run through on that, and we'll have the local police department here with us. So let's click over to I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment.